Alright, welcome everybody back to e-rev.tv. We're casting the tiebreaker between Complexity and Revolution Sports. And they've chosen Maker versus one Cruncher or just Complexity Cruncher, actually, that was his old team, for their tiebreaker. So whoever wins this best of three wins the match for the ESEA Team League. And spawning in the top right, we got yellow Terran Maker, and in the bottom left, orange Protoss Cruncher.
And once again, we're playing another round on Match Point. This is an IC Cup map, so it's not a part of the ladder rotation, but it is an old Brood War map. So I'm not sure what Cruncher's experience is. He's surely at least played it once today, so he knows what the map is. We've seen Maker play it today. Maker actually went for an all-in in a TVT, and it didn't work out so well. He lost that one, so maybe he'll play more orthodox style, maybe he'll all-in again, not really sure.
Yeah, and one thing about Cruncher that's actually cool, give a little bit of hope to you, all you hopefuls out there. Cruncher got noticed because he was never part of any big team before. He just started winning really big tournaments. He won like 3 in a row, cash tournaments, beating out pros and stuff, and that's how he got picked up by the teams that he's played for so far, which I think is really cool. That it was just based on talent, and you know, he worked his way up from nothing, and now he's here competing.
This pro press going down, that SCV died.
Takes one.
That's a bit of a blow.
That's so annoying too, as a Terran.
Yeah, that's terrible. And you know, it used to be a big threat early on in retail and in beta before people really understood how to stop the pro press. It's not too difficult to stop it. And the gas steal.
Gas steal basically is going to stop him from going any tech-heavy build. Mainly, the reason why people do it is the early Banshee harass, and that's what the one gas steal is going to be about.
Yeah, with the gas steal, it opens you up to not have to make a robo. In a lot of builds, you have to make that robo bay as Protoss so that you can get that observer, just in case a Banshee comes. But when a gas steal is out there, you know that even if they do go Banshee, it's delayed a little bit more. And if you're going for some type of a 4-gate or an all-in or some type of early game attack, you can usually get the attack off before their Banshee comes out.
Yeah, definitely. That's basically all it's good for, and it gives you a little bit of an early scout, kinda. You don't really have to give anything up too much to it, but like right now, he's gonna see that second tech lab, and he's gonna know that's kinda the build that he's going for.
Yeah, not the best choice of position on the building placement for Maker, because Cruncher can actually see all that tech right there. He knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah. And if you look at Cruncher's building placement, how far out it's spaced, it's so that he can see each part of that main platform, so that he can't get dropped and he can't get any kind of proxy weird stuff going on in his base without him knowing about it.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that earlier today. We saw a couple buildings lifted off from the, I guess you could call it the natural 4th expansion.
Yeah, Boo did a lot of scouting with a factory, but if he saw that there was an open spot anywhere, he would drop and start building Hellions. And even if they saw there was, or that he had already been discovered, he didn't even care. Sometimes he would still drop and build those Hellions, because he knew most of the army was at his base and not defending. So pretty interesting.
Look at this, Warp Tech is done and a proxy pylon is down, and Maker does not see the proxy pylon. He has no idea that's there.
He's right next to it, but he can't see it.
So what do you think about this? What do you think Cruncher's going to do having that there?
Proxy pylon opens up a lot. He's only got 3 gates, so I think he's going to do some kind of probing attack. I don't think he's going to try and seal the game right now. I think he's going to attack and see what's going on. You see he's warping in Stalkers there. Oh, now he sees him. Good, excellent.
Oh, he gets spotted.
That's big. That's really
Cruncher,
big.
that was a bit of a mistake.
Now I think it's definitely going to be just a probing attack as opposed to trying to win. You see he's throwing that bunker down, and I toe-to-toe, I don't think he's going to win if you try to fight him right now. And then we'll see. Oh, he stems up and he's able. Yep, he shields and runs away.
Nice, good escape.
Good job.
He drops those force fields, and that stim was for nothing. Look at all that damage caused. All he lost, I think it was just one sentry and one zealot.
Yeah. And like we see, Cruncher, so like I said, the probing attack, he saw just what he needed to see. He saw that second base, and now he kind of has an idea of the game plan for Maker.
Maker, on the other hand, has no idea what's going on Cruncher's side. They both have pretty comparable economies. Both their expansions are finishing in relatively similar time. Maker moving up in the ramp here. If he gets cut off, this could be devastating. And sure enough, he does get cut off. Look at that. Cruncher dropping that force field. He's able to back up and hold by the ramp, and he's going to drop a couple shots. Oh, another good force field position. Doesn't pinch them off, though. Not a good trade for Maker.
Well, thank God for those sentries. If he didn't have those sentries, if their unit compositions were to meet up, if you were to catch Cruncher out of place and just go toe-to-toe with those Marines and Marauders, even without the shield, he still would have been able to wipe him out no problem. Excellent use by those force fields, trapping him out, splitting his army up. Really good positioning by Cruncher.
Yeah, definitely. The 3-Rax build used to be very common until all the Protosses were able to figure out that you could just force field your ramp, split their units, and win with a smaller army. So because of that, not many people stim as they go up the ramp there. That's a pretty risky move to do.
Yeah, and now noticing that it's gonna transition into a little bit later of a game. You see him throwing down a factory and another gas, so that he's probably gonna start building medevacs now. You know, with the second base, he's gonna be able to support that no problem. He's got 4 racks, 3 tech labs, 1 reactor. He's probably going to be going for a Marauder heavy build, I would imagine, with that many tech labs.
Cruncher's moving out with the OBS here. He did get that robo. He has that OBS. He's going to find out exactly what's going on. However, he already dropped his tech. He's going Colossus. He knows what he's going right now.
But with Colossus, the thing about Colossus is they're not that effective until you have a bunch of them. Especially against Terran, those Marauders are going to be able to eat him alive unless he gets a critical number before he attacks. So it's going to be really important for him. And you know what? When he sees that observer, he might not be able to spot it with a detection, but he probably sees it moving around his base. That's the way he knows it has a Robo Bay. So he's probably going to be building Colossus. So he knows he needs to attack sometime within the next couple minutes. Before he gets that number of Colossus that's really dangerous.
Yeah, that's true. A lesser player here might not truly know anything that's going on, but as you said, if Maker did see that, it's a good guess that Colossus is coming up. So, the right thing to do, knowing that information, would be to push out just like this. The only problem is, of course, those force fields can do the same thing that happened earlier. Maker might get cut in half and really decimated here. Oh, so he's coming around the back to prevent that from happening. Smart move. There are a lot of chokes in this.
Like he chooses a big one.
One Colossus is out. It does not have the range. A lot of force fields going down, and a couple get cut off. That's the devastation. That's the problem with force fields. Look at that. Look at all those units getting chopped up. This is a huge problem for Maker. He's got to stim, run away. He has no chance to win that fight.
That's a good thing about a bio army, though, is that at any point that you think you're losing, you can stim and run away.
Yeah, with that medevac energy, he can just refill. Now, he does have the starport with a reactor on it, so he can be just pumping out Vikings, and looks like that's what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what kind of sucks about this map is all the very small chokes is going to make it really easy to force field them. And with the force fields, it just makes it really hard to engage as Terran.
Yeah, and if you can't put on pressure, the economy is going to slide towards Cruncher, because Cruncher right now, he is taking his third, and it looks like Maker's also taking his third, but Cruncher is actually ahead in the worker count. He's up 58 to 45.
As you see him suiciding his factory right now, he knows he's going to lose it, but he's going to get as much info as he can. He mainly wants to see that unit composition, which he does see completely right before it gets taken down. But yeah, like you said, Cruncher's ahead by a lot. 15 Harvesters ahead of Maker.
It's a very stalker-heavy army. If you look at that, there's only 2 zealots and they just got warped in. It's an interesting unit composition. Those zealots are pretty effective to be a meat shield for the bio with the Colossus behind it. But I think he knows that with all those Vikings in the air, those Colossus are probably not going to live too long, unless he's able to defend them. So Blink Tech is finished, and Charge is coming for the Zealots, so those Stalkers can blink underneath any harassing Vikings, which will really raise the survivability of those Colossuses. However, the tech on the Terran side is pretty much just pure Marine Marauder Medevac with the Vikings splashed in. No ghost, nothing unusual like that.
Yeah. He's got 1/1 for the ground, slow and stim with shields, all the standard bio upgrades. I think right now, if they were to fight head to head, I don't know. I think it'd be kind of even, because 3 is that number that's kind of in between. Anything more than 3, I feel like that's the critical number you need for those Colossus to be really dangerous, and anything less than that, I feel like they're really not even too big of a factor.
Yeah, especially with 7 Vikings. 7 Vikings with 2 more on the way, that's going to be 9 total. That will rip through those Colossus if they are not covered by those Stalkers.
Yeah, do you know the number for to one-shot Colossus? Is it 9?
Sounds about right. Although Colossus right now have
sure
+2 armor for a total of 3, so that's going to make a difference because the Vikings they do attack twice. So that 3 armor will be a total of 6 mitigation.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's why he's getting that armor is for almost specifically for those Viking pickoffs, so that he can't one-shot the Colossus, and he has to take more hits at him.
One thing to note about this map is Cruncher did go ahead and take a third that has gas, because if you look, Maker's third does not have any gas. This is something that's fairly common with Brood War maps, not very common in StarCraft 2 maps.
Yeah.
And that's definitely because Cruncher is going for that Colossus build, very gas heavy. I wouldn't be very surprised to see Maker go for a lot more Marines. However, Marines do not do well against Colossus.
Yeah, he chose to just skip that that expansion completely because he needs the gas a lot more than he needs the minerals.
Cruncher with huge map control right now, he's basically boxing his opponent in with pylons, and he knows that those pylons could go down, but it's there to prevent the drops.
Yeah, it's basically a tripwire. I mean, he knows that they're going to get shot down when he moves out, but it's going to let him know where his opponent's at. And, you know, if he's letting him do it, then why not? And with no Xel'Naga watchtowers on this map, you got to do something to keep map control.
Yeah, I'm surprised Maker's not pushing out at all, you know? He could be sending 1 Marine, anything, but he's sending nothing. He has no map control. Cruncher has all the map control in the world. Cruncher has more gas. He's taking his 4th sooner. Things are not looking good for Maker if he just sits around like this, although, here he goes, he's starting to move out. Moving out with no map control. He has no idea where the army is.
Especially if you look for Cruncher right now, he was chrono boosting that Psystorm and Amulet from the Templar Archives. He built 2 of them, which means soon he's going to start getting out those Psystorms, and that's a big thing. So if he gets in there early,
I think Maker might be expecting to one-shot those Colossus. He scans up the ramp as he moves up. He's starting to get very paranoid. But there's now 3 armor for total 4. Right now. Huge engagement here. Storm is done, but he chooses to back up. He doesn't have any Templar there.
Oh, this is good.
All the damage going down on those Colossus. Those Vikings are really doing a lot of damage, but the Storm does even more damage back to the Bio. Bio has no chance against Colossus plus Storm. All the Colossus down now. Now it's down to pure Gateway units and High Templar. The High Templar Storm is just doing so much damage to those Bio units.
Without Ghost to counter those High Templars, it's going to be hard. There was a pretty even exchange of units, but without look, he's going to take out his base, which is probably the smartest thing he could do right now, because he's going to be able to murder that. And he's probably going to jump up in those drop ships and take off. Oh, big storm.
Oh, so much storm damage. That was not necessary. He could have got out of there, but he decided to stick around, and he's going to lose his whole army for that. That might be a game-losing mistake right there. Those Blink Stalkers are going to be able to chase down all those medevacs.
Yeah,
That
and
was a
originally
little
that
too
was a good
greedy.
move by Maker. If he was able to just pick that Nexus off and then load up and leave, that would have been excellent. But he got a little bit too greedy. He wanted to kill everything there, and then and wound up paying for it. Because he's still being chased right now by that big Protoss army.
This could be a huge counter right here. Although
Finally
there is a ghost out.
He's got ghosts out.
Here's the one ghost that almost has enough energy for 2 EMPs. That could be devastating if it manages to hit those Templar. So this is going to come down to the micro of that.
The targeting is everything.
Look at that. A lot more High Templar getting warped in with those proxy pylon. That planetary fortress
And look,
doesn't stand a chance.
Cruncher blocks off. Cruncher's blocking off and taking that expansion right there, right outside of Maker's base.
Yeah, look at that. That's aggressive. Cruncher
But
right
I
now
think trying
on
to
5
no,
bases.
maybe another base trade.
Yeah, this has to be a base trade, although
Fortress, and he's gonna try and repair it. And Planetary Fortress with that many SCVs repairing is my god. Storm takes down all
Storm
the SCVs
completely
and
wrecks him.
just dies.
Ever since the
I
change
think,
where SCVs get the same priority, those planetary fortresses do not last as long. Yeah, there's almost no way he can win this base trade. There would need to be a huge blunder on the part of Cruncher. If Cruncher just plays a safe, careful game, he'll be able to clean everything up and go on to the next game.
We're gonna see a good game here shortly, but still, this was a very good first game, especially. I'm glad they picked these two players.
Yeah, these are two very good players. Again, this is the tiebreaker of the round. So these are some of their best players on either
Another money
team.
storm. Yeah, this should be a good game any second now. This is not. He's not going to be able to hold this off. And even if he does hold it off, he's on one base. It's almost mined out, and all of his SCVs are being stormed right now. It's not. This is over.
He's trying to rally his units back into his base for one last stand. With those Archons out,
like
those
I said,
Archons do so much damage to Bio.
No one wants to lose when $5 grand is on the line.
Maker trying for one last defense. Storm just cutting up his Bio.
Yeah, I don't know. I
There's
don't know
almost
what
no
he's
way out
holding
at
on
this
to
point.
right now.
Yeah.
Maybe he's thinking about what map is going to be next. Maybe he's. I don't know.
Maybe he's thinking
There's
about
not- there's
how
not
he
much
hasn't
to
done
say
so
right
well
now.
on this map today.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not too worried about it for Maker because I know he's an excellent player, and I know this map he's not done so hot on so far. So I'm not too worried about it. Maybe this map he was just kind of testing out Cruncher, which could have been what I think happened, and there's a good game.
And GG.
But that's what I think happened in his first game. The last matchup we watched was he played it a lot different than he would have played his end game, and then he was able to win too.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, so in the last round, we watched the game where Maker played, and again, he lost on there. It was a TVT. It was a best of 3. The first round was on that map. Maker lost, but he came back. He played the next 2 games. He played them very well, but it seems he's definitely off his game on that map.
yeah, definitely. And the map that we couldn't bring to you, there was an epic base trade in which he wound up winning, and it literally came down to every single unit in that game counted. There was one SCV left on the entire map for a long time, and then the game ended in Maker's favor. It was a really excellent game to watch, and we will bring you that recast from a replay.
It's a very intense base trade. And being able to see both sides, it was interesting. It was Stay Life versus Maker. Stay Life, he had the chance to win. I mean, we saw with one Banshee, he definitely could have, but not knowing where all the buildings were, he just wasn't able to get it. Maker was able to play a safe game. He pulled all his units to his last CC, defended it, and Stay Life GG'd when he realized he didn't have an economy and Maker did. So Maker's a very tenacious player. He's capable of some pretty wicked comebacks. We've seen it before. So we'll see how he plays again once he's on a map he's a little more familiar with. However, Cruncher is no pushover.
Yeah, definitely. He's not scared to put it out there and make risks for like a risky win. He's a confident player, but also he's not scared to put it out there and just try and win when it's not guaranteed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So here we are going to Delta Quadrant as our second match, which is interesting because it's loser picks. And Maker being the loser, he picked this map, and you know, I think most people agree, and it's definitely my opinion, the Delta Quadrant is a Protoss favored map over Terran. So I don't know why he chose it, but he might have something in mind.
But this is also another. This is a good macro map, and again, if you're a strong player and you feel like you're better than your opponent, you can pick a map like this and just try and out macro them and take it into the late game. As the map starts, here we go.
Yeah, you're right. It is a good map to macro on, but a lot of macro maps are a little bit bigger. This one for macro map is actually a pretty short rally to get to your opponent. So if you can keep up pressure while you macro, if that's your style of play, you're going to do very well.
Yeah. Okay, and here we go. Absolutely macro positions for Revolution Sports. Maker spawning in the bottom right, yellow Terran. Top left is going to be one Cruncher, or I keep saying one Cruncher because that's his name. That's
he used to be.
But yeah, it used to be one Cruncher. Now it's Complexity Cruncher. Orange Protoss in the top left. And this is game 2 in a best of 3 tiebreaker between Complexity and RS. It's been awesome so far, so I expect nothing less from this game.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, this map choice, this was chosen by Maker, the Terran player, which, when I play Terran and Protoss, I don't think I would ever choose this one as Terran. It's definitely winnable. It's not a huge disadvantage, but you can warp in through the back position of the base. There's a spot where if you put up a pylon, you can warp into their natural. Right there, you can see it. It's on the right hand of the screen there. You drop the pylon right there, and it's a lot of trouble because you have to hold off a multi-pronged attack, and it's a very common strategy, and I would say if you're Protoss, there's almost no reason not to do it. It's so powerful.
Yeah, especially even if you could just sneak a couple Zealots in there early game, you can do a big economics hit, and it's just for such a small cost, you know, you get such a big return, so there's no reason not to at least try it. For Terran, I definitely wouldn't pick this map first choice like you were saying. I like Zelnaga because it's even.
Another interesting thing is Maker's deciding to wall off at the top of his ramp, so that opens up a couple possibilities here. It does shut down some of that multi-pronged attack that is a problem on this map, but it opens you up to some starport builds.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah, like I said, Lost Temple I think is a lot stronger. Zelnaga, just for those reasons. I think this map and Jungle Basin are really bad in favor of Protoss for that warp in.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of big name Terran players in some pretty big tournaments get knocked out on these maps through that back warp in. But we'll have to see. I mean, Maker's obviously aware of it. You can see he's sending down a Marine to his expo there. He might send that down to go ahead and just watch. Oh, actually it looks like he's breaking down those rocks. Marines take a long time to break down rocks, but maybe his idea is he's going to expand out of that base, slow crawl out, and play a really defensive position.
Ooh, that's a quick expansion. 20 command center by Maker. So that's the good thing about the wall. Like I said, the wall is not to keep his attacks out. The wall is to keep him from scouting, which he has no idea what's going on right now, which Maker is just going to try and take the economic lead, breaking down that wall with all those Marines rallied that way. And yeah, that's basically his strategy right now. He's going to be economically way ahead of Cruncher, and Cruncher only has one gate, and it looks like he's about to go expand, which could be a big mischoice by Cruncher here. But you know, given he can't see, he's playing blind. You know, what else is he going to do? He doesn't know he's behind in the economic lead.
Yeah, this makes a bit more sense why Maker would choose this. I mean, it's a bit of a risky maneuver. It's not something a Protoss player would expect very often. I mean, moving to the destructible rock-covered Expo as your second Expo is very unusual. I wouldn't say it's anything that you would never account for, but you surely wouldn't guess it's coming.
Yeah, and I think he's got the timing worked out perfectly. I mean, this is obviously well practiced. Those rocks are going to be broken down just in time for this orbital to be done, and the orbital's going to be upgraded. He's going to uplift and float it in right when it's done. And like I said, he still has no idea what he's playing against. He doesn't even know if well, he saw, all he saw basically was that reactor. Other than that, he has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, and Cruncher's going for a 3-gate robo, so pretty standard build, and it's actually kind of a safe build. He is taking his expansion now.
Yeah, good build for him. He's gonna. It's pretty solid. It's good against every matchup, and he's gonna be able to get that observer out early, which I'm sure is what he's. Yeah, that's what he's doing. And he's gonna come in. He's gonna be able to scout it. But again, I think it's too late. I think he's gonna have the lead already, especially economically, and be able to. For a huge economic lead, I think the best thing to do is to go mostly bio army. I think that's where you're going to see the biggest returns.
Yeah, definitely. If he wanted to tech to something really high tech, he would have done it already. He's probably going to go mass barracks units.
Yeah. And he would have gotten those reactors also, which are reactors. What's it? The gas, whatever it's refinery. God damn it. Refinery for Terran on that second base.
And Cruncher spots the move out. Maker coming out here. This could do a lot of damage. Cruncher does not have a very big army. Cruncher's being a little bit risky moving out into the open territory. This could be very bad. It's all going to come down to the force field placement. Stim moving in. One good force field. Another one. Those don't really break up the units too much. There we go. That's a pretty good split on those units. Those units are not able to fight very efficiently.
There we go. I think he's going to lose his Nexus. No, maybe he regroups. Oh, that Colossus is going to be big. He's going to be able to push him out, which is, yeah, that's basically what he's trying to save. That's why he pushed down to the bottom of his ramp as opposed to using those force fields to keep him out of his main, as he wants to keep that natural alive. And that's why he risked all those units, because it's such a big... with that observer, he probably knows he's behind right now. And actually, no, he's not even scouted that yet.
Yeah, if you look at Cruncher's vision right now, he has no idea that expansion is there.
He doesn't.
He's checking it out now.
There we go. Now.
Aha. And a missile turret going
yeah,
up.
Beforehand, I figured he was playing that risky because he felt like he was behind economically. But yeah, it was strange. He hadn't even seen that yet.
The observer gets popped off, so now Cruncher's going to be flying blind a little bit here. He's still producing those Colossuses.
Yeah, he's starting to push to the tower there. But like I said, before you get too many Colossus, they're really not that useful. Especially before the range upgrade is done.
Maker's really heavy on the Marines here, and the Marines just get dominated by those Colossus.
They do, but it's only one Colossus, so not a huge deal if he's able to target it really quick.
Engagement going down, Stim. This could be bad for Cruncher.
He's not targeting it, though.
A little bit of micro, that's solid there. Cruncher knows the best thing to do is just to run. He has no way of beating that. He has to rally in. As a Protoss player, he has warp gates. He just does not want to lose that Colossus. Focusing the Colossus down, and it's picked off. A huge loss for Cruncher. Maker could win it right here if he's not too greedy. This is a very solid play by Maker to back up.
Win for Maker.
Right now the supply counts are 79 to 51 in favor of Maker, our Terran player. So right now he has quite a lead. There's no reason to throw away his lead.
That big of a deficit might not be so big.
Maker's taking his third expansion here, which is the correct thing to do. Cruncher has not broken out his back rocks.
Yeah, the that big of a lead in food count late in the game might not be as big as it is at this point. 12 minutes into the game, that the 50-70 lead, that's a lot bigger than it is later.
Yeah, it's now 91 to 68, and it's going to grow a little bit. One thing to note is since those back rocks are not broken down for Cruncher, that means that Cruncher does not have a very safe third. He'll have to break that down before he wants to take that third. If he takes a third at the gold or something like that, it'll be much, much more exposed, and those fast-moving bio armies can do split attacks and pick off all the expansions.
And he started to break it down, but it's still going to be a while before he actually gets it down. And yeah, like you said, I think if Maker's in the lead right now, and if he's careful, he can edge this lead into a bigger lead and wind up winning this game. Pretty strong.
Maker is securing that third
right now.
Yeah, he definitely could win. 127 to 85. That's quite an advantage for Maker. I don't think anybody would blame him for just pushing, trying to win at this point.
I think scanning and seeing he's out of position also. I think this is really good for Maker. Oh yes. Yeah, he's gonna be able to take this no problem. I think we'll see a good game pretty soon. There it is.
And there it is.
1-1. There we go. Tied up. Completely tied up.
Remember, this is the tiebreaker round for the overall team battle. So it's Revolution Sports versus Complexity. This is the ace match. These are their ace players putting them together. 1-1 and a best of 3. So we have one more game, and it all comes down to this.
Yeah, definitely. Good choices by both teams. I mean, these are obviously evenly matched players, and in both really good teams. I'm interested to see what map is going to be next. What would you choose as Protoss just losing on Delta Quad?
Yeah, that's hard because, I mean, if you lose and you have the map choice, you might want to go Delta Quadrant, but you can't repick it. So the next great option would be Jungle Basin. It has the similar warp in the back end area. Really, there aren't a whole lot of maps that are anti-Protoss, however, so a lot of it comes down to personal choice. Protoss, they really don't struggle on any map. A lot of it is due to the fact that warp gates can get them anywhere. They don't really have to worry about ledges too much and positions and chokes.
Yeah, so you can take advantage of being at cross positions when they're trying to play a more macro game, and you can bring the rush to them. And that's definitely a thing. But he's chosen Metalopolis.
Metalopolis,
which is another good map.
Yeah, Metalopolis and Zonag are probably the two fairest.
Like, I don't think he's going to try anything weird. I think they're just going to try and play a good... I don't think he's like, oh, cross my fingers, I hope we're close positions because I'm going to rush. I'm sure he's thinking, it's Metalopolis, we're going to have a long game, and I feel like, I can go toe-to-toe with this guy.
Yeah, because remember, in Game 1, that was a very long game, more macro-oriented game, and Cruncher really did play it better. It might have been the map choice that was throwing Maker off, but Maker just sort of turtled up, and turtling doesn't work so well versus Protoss. Alright, so countdown starting here on Metalopolis. So the spawn position is going to change a lot about how this game works out, so we'll have to see. And it's not close positions, so these are pretty macro-oriented positions. We have Maker, the yellow Terran, starting in the left-hand position. Cruncher, the orange Protoss, starting in the bottom position. So in these positions, both players do expand away from each other, but there is that close air rush distance, so sometimes we'll see things like Void Rays or Banshees, but it's really their choice. They could play a macro game or they could play a rush game.
Yeah, for those of you newer players out here, it is, like he was saying, it's called close air positions. because the close positions would be, you see Cruncher at the 6 would be at the 3, that next one, and the top right, I guess I would call it. That's close positions. That's the closest ground to ground positions, but this is close air, obviously, for drops and for void rays, banshees, any kind of thing they want to do right here. That's going to be ideal.
Yeah, I never know what to call it. Some people call it 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Some people call it north and south. Some people call it left and right.
Yeah, it's a people. I like to think that the people watching out there aren't retarded.
That's a popular position.
Yeah.
So, looks like no scout yet on Maker. That's kind of interesting. It's not particularly late to be scouting, but if he was getting cheese, which he's not, he wouldn't be aware of it.
Well, honestly, a lot of Terrans scout at 15, which we're actually at 15, and he's still a little slow. But, yeah, it's not a huge deal. Because he may have a particular build in mind that's solid against any matchup.
Another gas steal on Cruncher.
Yep, another gas steal. Again, for those of you just tuning in, that gas steal taking out the early tech out of the game so that he doesn't have to deal with banshees, so he doesn't have to get detection as early as he may have to if you weren't able to steal that. And also giving him kind of a little bit of a scout, which this game it's not as much because he built the buildings away from the gas this time.
Yeah, Cruncher was able to scout the tech lab and the reactor in a previous game of Maker, and that was actually a very interesting choice of Maker to go ahead and place his buildings there. He did go on to lose that game. That was game 1. Another thing to note about the assimilator is it does have 900 HP, which is more than either of the other 2 races' gas producing buildings. So it means that when you drop that, it takes so long to get it back. It really makes a lot of sense for a protest player to gas steal. There's never really a bad time to do it.
A little micro thing here with Maker. He pulled off 2 SEVs really quick, repaired that SEV that only had 5 life left up to 21, and then went back to working. And it was literally just like a second, but that takes the SEV. If he was going to probe micro like Huck and come back in here and try and kill that SCV, not able to do that anymore.
Yeah, Huck's very famous for that really aggressive probe harass. Because those probes, they can just regenerate their shields and come right back, and it can be so annoying if you have a couple SCVs that are low.
Because getting that stem, a lot of these RS players don't get slow early, which is what we see from a lot of normal players. But if you're watching the earlier cast, it's like we say, the RS Terran players play a little bit different than anyone else that we like to cast. So definitely a good team to watch. And Maker particularly is one of my personal favorites to watch.
It's interesting. Cruncher is going ahead with 3 gates and no tech buildings, so he's probably going for an expansion.
Yeah, especially with that sentry heavy build. No stalkers yet. Just sentries and zealots. I think he's definitely going to go for that quick nexus.
Yeah. He hasn't dropped it yet, though. He was at 500 just about for a second there. So I'm not really sure what he's doing. Because he's warping in units instead of expanding. Maybe he senses something. Maybe he senses now is a good time to attack. Here come the Marine. This could be a pretty good engagement for Maker. He doesn't have stim yet, but if he can just wait for the stim to finish, he could crush this army. Force fields go down. That could be bad. Those zealots are going to move in and cut up those bio units. Stim is done. If he micros correctly, he could beat this entire army of Cruncher.
Ooh, 1 hit left for that Marauder if he were to take that low Stalker. And ideally, that is exactly where he wants to catch Cruncher at, because with the Sentry Heavy army in the open, those force fields aren't going to be anywhere near as effective as if you're in a narrow choke.
Yeah, definitely. I think Maker could have won that fight had he just charged forward, and instead, it looks like he's going to be up against the 3-gate push. This is not an all-in push. but it's a pretty strong push. Another stim going down. Cruncher knows if he can just escape, that stim will do a lot of damage. But he's not going to escape, not with that slow finish.
He's picking off a lot.
Now Maker is in a problem where if he continues to stim down his units and Cruncher runs, he could get down to all red units, which would be really terrible. At that point, Cruncher would warp in a couple zealots and win the game.
But he's got 4 barracks right now, and that's. I feel like he's gonna be able to keep reinforcing. I don't think Cruncher's gonna probably have to go back to his base and just wait for another point.
Look at that, he stemmed up all those units.
Oh, good force.
That was unnecessary. You only need to stem up with 1 Marauder.
Ooh, another good force field. Yeah, the stem choice right now for Maker was a bit too much, I think. Yeah, a lot of Terrans stem all their units at the same time, no matter what, and you don't really always need to.
Yeah, it's not always right. In fact, a lot of the time, if you do the math, you have 2 armies. If you don't stim, sometimes it's better, which is actually one of those things you have to consider high-level play, because a lot of times when you're learning this game, you always get told, always use stim pack. And for the most part, it's true. But there's a couple situations where it's not the best thing to do, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
When you're chasing units through a choke and they can drop force fields, they probably will.
Yeah. But still, I mean, still good play by Maker, pushing him back to his base, and he's able to freely expand here now, and also take this tower and take map control with it.
Cruncher sees us coming through that Zonaga though, and now Cruncher, he is so far ahead in the economy. He's up 36 over 25 on the worker count. He's had his economy up for a while. He hasn't been
what's
teching
strange
to
though
anything
is, well, at that time he was behind actually, even though because of mules, Maker was still ahead in the economy, which is kind of strange.
Cruncher sees us coming with his obs that just came out. He's getting an Immortal out. He has 1 out. He's not producing a second one just yet. It's a very Marauder heavy army. That Immortal is going to do a ton of damage if it can stay alive. But Cruncher accidentally clicks the tower there. Big engagement. Force field's going down, but they're not going to do much because there's not a whole lot of zealots here. He needs more zealots if he's going to force field like that.
He takes all the zealots
Micros the zealots a little bit. He's pulling off probes. That's the only way he's going to win, but this is looking very bad for Cruncher. Maker moving in to clean up. Cruncher's only chance is to get a sentry, force field his ramp, and return some kind of all-in attack.
He goes 2 zealots.
He has a sentry out,
like you were saying. There we go.
But it doesn't matter. Maker's about to clinch this game.
Seeing good game, and there it is. Wow, RS
it is
able
GG.
to beat Complexity in this overtime match. Excellent game. Last
Revolution
game
Sports over Complexity. Wow.
Goodness gracious. And Maker is super happy if you're in the RS channel right now. Just mad happy faces. Good game. Because he pulled through from being behind in both of those matches and was able to win. Pretty impressive.
Well, that was very solid play on Maker's part. In the end there, in the beginning he might have been a little nervous, or maybe he was just stimming because he was playing aggressively. Whatever it was, it worked.
Yeah. He, I feel like his first game that he plays, I feel like he probes the enemy, and he might. I mean, obviously every game he's trying to win, but the first game I think he thinks is more important to see how they're going to play and how they're going to react to certain plays, and then he takes that information, processes it, and says, okay, next map is going to be this, I'm going to play this way, and then boom, he was able to wrap up 2 games back to back and win it for RS, and that was big.
Yeah, pretty big victory. There was a lot of pressure on that because, again, this league, there is a $5,000 prize. So, these guys are not just playing for pride. They are, of course, playing for pride, but it's not just pride in this case, and that was the ace match of the ace round of an ace match.
Yeah, and very well played by RS. RS is relatively new to StarCraft, and they have a very solid lineup, as you're seeing. Some of their players aren't as known as other players, but as we've seen time and time again, it doesn't matter because they keep winning. We haven't casted a loss by RS yet, and we've casted at least 4 of their games. And it's different every time I watch them play. They never do the same old plays over and over, and it's nice. I like their lineup. I like their team. I like complexity as well, but they just weren't able to pull through here.
Yep, it was good games all around.
And before we sign off tonight, I just want to give a shout out again to both teams' website, complexitygaming.com for Team Complexity, rsgaming.com for Revolution Sports, and the-legion.net, which is just a gaming community which will be putting on a cash prize tournament in the near future. And even not, if you're a new player, if you're an experienced player, they have everyone from Masters League all the way to Bronze. Just a good community for playing and getting better. And so yeah, thank you for everyone tuning in for us tonight. This was Garrett. My name is Trey. And this is e-rev.tv. Thank you very much. Good game.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.